Kids Learning Club.
Tony's basket. A little squirrel named Tony lived in a dense forest with his mother. Tony wanted his mother to love him, so he tried to be the best son he could be. It seemed to the young squirrel that a good son should be the bravest, the most agile, and the fastest. He thought, I want my mother to be proud of me and to love me. So he tried to come first place in everything. He climbed the highest trees, jumped from one stump to another, and always won the squirrel race. Mummy will love me if I jump higher than everyone else, he thought, as he jumped higher than the other squirrels, from branch to branch, from tree to tree. Look, Mummy, how high I can jump! The squirrel shouted from the top of the tallest pine tree. You're a good boy, Tony, answered his mother, and the squirrel felt very happy. Summer passed quickly, and the leaves began to turn yellow. Autumn came to the forest. One day, Tony's mum gave him a basket and said, Here's a basket for you, Tony. We need to gather nuts and berries. I'll dry them, and we'll have a supply for the winter. Tony cheered. Okay, Mummy, just give me a bigger basket. I'll bring lots of nuts and berries, more than the other squirrels. This basket is big enough, son. We don't need more. It will be hard for you to carry a big basket. Tony was stubborn and took the largest basket that could be found in the hollow anyway. The other squirrels also went out to the forest with baskets to collect supplies. They gathered autumn berries and mushrooms and dug sweet roots out of the ground. Little squirrel Ruth found a big cedar cone and was diligently picking delicious triangular nuts out of it. There was a noise and bustle all around. The squirrels didn't forget to gallop along the branches and play their squirrel games, even while gathering supplies. I'm not going to play today. I have to gather tasty foods for the winter so that my mother will be pleased with me, Tony thought as he began to gather nuts. His friends' cheerful voices echoed through the forest. Tony felt a little sad. He wanted to play with everyone. Still, the little squirrel decided that he wouldn't play. He really wanted to get praise from his mother for his hard work. The autumn day crawled on, and by evening, Tony's basket was full of forest goods. There were fragrant mushrooms, golden nuts, and even a pair of ruddy apples. Tony had gone far into the forest to collect them all, and now he had a long way to get home. My mum will be so proud of me. She will say nice things and give me lots of praise. Tony panted, dragging the heavy basket along the ground. The basket, however, did not obey. The basket would get stuck between two stumps, or it would turn upside down. Then Tony had to collect them all over again. The sun was already going down. The forest was getting darker, and Tony was dragging his basket because he could not carry it. The little squirrel did not notice that he had caught the basket on an old root sticking out of the ground. He pulled and dragged it harder, and then there was a hole in the basket. Nuts started rolling out of the hole one by one. Then berries fell out, and then mushrooms. Tony dragged the basket to the hollow. Then he looked in to find that there was almost nothing left in it. Just a few mushrooms and a couple of acorns remained.
Oh no! What am I going to tell my mum? What will she say now? What will she love such a clumsy son for?
Tony was very upset. He felt so sad, so disappointed, and so sorry for himself that he sat down on the stump and cried bitterly. Little squirrel Ruth walked by. She saw Tony and hopped closer.
Why are you crying, Tony? Who hurt you?
The little squirrel told his friend about his grief. Ruth gave it a good deal of thought and said,
It's okay if the basket is leaking. It's not your fault. I collected lots of nuts. If you want, I'll share them with you. But you wouldn't have many left,
Tony wondered.
Would your mother be proud of you if you don't bring enough home? Of course she will. I did my best. I helped out a friend. My mother is always proud of me, even if I don't do well. She loves me no matter what. She just loves me for what I am, not for anything I do.
Tony fell to thinking.
So my mum loves me for being me too, and not because I'm obedient and clever. Of course she does. She's your mother. Take half of my nuts and give them to her. And tomorrow you and I will go to the forest and collect more supplies.
Tony thanked his friend and went home. He gave the nuts that Ruth had collected to his mother and told her about his adventures. Mum gave Tony a big hug.
Son, you're the best. Ruth was telling the truth. I love you and I will always love you, even if you don't succeed. I know you try hard. I try, Mummy, because I love you too,
Tony whispered. He felt very warm and happy with his mother's love. From then on, Tony never stopped being diligent. He still practiced jumping and helping his mother simply because he loved her so much and wanted to please her. However, he was no longer afraid that his mother would fall out of love with him, because a mummy's love is always the strongest. Tony knew that for sure now.